Welcome to Healthy Eating on a Budget. This presentation is for educational purposes only. The slide gives tips and suggestions that may help with healthy eating on a budget. Always seek advice from a certified professional regarding medical or health concerns or for financial guidance. What does it mean to eat healthy on a budget? Healthy eating can be defined as the intake of food and beverage that provides your body with the nutrients needed to improve or help maintain overall health. Healthy eating is personal. It is food and drink that works best for your body. Budgeting is making a written plan on how to spend and save money. A well-written budget can help you reach your financial goals. Healthy eating on a budget is making choices that allows you to eat healthy within your financial means. There are myths when it comes to healthy eating. Let's take a look at a few. Brown eggs are healthier than white. According to research, there is no nutritional difference. Meat is needed for a balanced diet. A plant-based diet rich in foods high in fiber and vitamins are just as nutritional as those with or without meat. Nuts are just as bad as junk food. Nuts are an excellent source of protein and other nutrients. Healthy eating on a budget isn't possible. Healthy eating is possible on a budget with proper planning, creativity, and determination. A healthy diet can be achieved on just about any food budget or plan. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, budgets are influenced by factors to include the number of people in a household, living expenses, entertainment, and savings. Below is a 2021 guide of a family of four based on thrifty, low cost, and moderate budgets. Please take a moment just to take a quick review. More information about food budgets and planning can be found on the United States Department of Agriculture USDA website. Healthy eating on a budget may require lifestyle changes. One of the first steps in this journey is to establish a food spending plan. This should be a part of your overall budget. How much do you set aside for food? This amount should include all meals, daily breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for the entire household. Keeping in mind, the money set aside for meals should spread throughout the number of times you go to the grocery store. If your overall budget is based on monthly income, your food spend should consider how many times in a month you will grocery shop. This should include unplanned meals as well, such as spare-of-the-moment fast food or carry-out. This may be challenging, but can be done. Once you have the food spending amount, how do you expand your dollars? In other words, how do you get the most out of your money? One way is to maximize your grocery shopping experience. Listed are some suggestions. Take an inventory of what you already have in your refrigerator, freezer, and cabinets. Make a list of what else you may need. Clip coupons, comparison shop, look at different prices, different sales between different grocery stores. Never shop hungry, and once again, set a budget. This amount should be the maximum amount you will spend each time, making sure you do not exceed your overall monthly, weekly, or bi-weekly food spend. We've all at one time or another experienced economical inflation or money shortage that may change our food budget. When this happens, we have to become creative with ways to expand our food. This can be done with organization, meal planning, and proper food storage. Organization is essential when it comes to healthy eating on a budget. When our refrigerators, freezers, and cabinets are cluttered or not organized, food items are oftentimes overlooked. This can lead to food spoilage and expired items. Although all expired items may not cause us harm or cause us to become sick, but the quality may diminish, which causes us to throw the food away. Spoiled food, of course, must be thrown away, but when we discard food, it's like throwing away money. Keep in mind when it comes to expired items, there is a best if used by date and a used by date. The best if used by date is based on the quality. The product may not taste as expected, but it's not harmful, whereas the used by date are for food products that are perishable, that go bad quickly, that have spoilage quickly, that may cause you harm, safety concerns over time. According to Food Waste in America 2022, Feeding America, a nonprofit organization, states Americans waste more than $218 billion a year on food. We'll talk a little bit more in a later slide on the proper storage and how we can best preserve our food for longer use. Planning is a big part of healthy eating on a budget. It can take time, but is beneficial. When you have a plan, you are less likely to spend money on fast food or takeout unless it's part of your food budget. You can plan by making menus, coming up with recipes. Decide what you want to eat during the week for each meal of the day. Write it down. Remember to be creative. Plan meals based on items you already have at home. Take an inventory. Look in your refrigerator and freezer. Think of different ways to come up with different type of menus throughout the week. Look for sale items. You can save money and create a meal based on your savings. Do food comparisons between the different grocery stores. Use leftovers. You cook a Sunday meal. You roast a chicken. You have leftover chicken. You can repurpose that meat by making sandwiches, adding it into soup, or even into your salads. When you are creating your recipes, as a tip, keep in mind when they call for specialty items or seasonings that are not common, something you may never use again, sometimes that's costly and it can become wasteful if you're spending $5 or $6 on one item that you only plan on using once. See if there are alternatives, or maybe looking for a different type of a recipe, or just trying different things just to see how they work out for your taste buds. Encourage your family to become involved. Get the whole household involved with planning the meals for the week. You can do this by asking your children to share their favorite recipes. Come up with a theme for the week or theme for the day for a meal. Come up with suggestions. The idea is to get involved, have all involved, and be willing to try something new. Once you have your meal plan, it's now time to meal prep. Meal preparation takes time up front but saves time on the back end during the week when you're your most busiest. Listed are some examples of different ways to meal prep. Full meals, preparing and storing the entire meal, batch cooking, making multiple or large meals to break down in portions, portion size when you're doing just single serving meals for one person, and ready to cook ingredients when you're doing all your preparation of chopping your vegetables, making your marinades and sauces that will be used later on in a meal. Meals can be cooked and stored, as I said, in the refrigerator or freezer up front. You can store based on your family size. As a rule of thumb, cooked foods generally, when stored properly, can last in the refrigerator 3 to 5 days on average and 6 months in the freezer. It's a good idea to label your food containers so you can mark the contents and the date the date of what's inside. As a suggestion, you can put the best by use date. The next slide talks a little bit more about food safety concerns. The United States Department of Agriculture is a good resource for more information on food safety. As noted here, the USDA recommendation for storing fully cooked meals is up to 4 days. And if meal prepping for 7 days, you should meal prep on 2 separate days. As an example, Sunday and Wednesday. This will cover the meals for the entire week. Or you can do your meal prepping in 1 day and store part of the week's meals in the freezer till it's time for use. The USDA recommends 3 to 4 months in the freezer. It is important to quickly check the prepared meals before eating. Look for a change in color, texture, odor, and if in doubt, it's best to throw out. Here are a list of items that can be helpful with meal preparation. When making purchases, take time to research prior to making the buy, so you're not making impulse purchases based on commercials or advertisements. While it's always good to save money, a product that may be on sale or cost less than similar items may cost you more in the end if it is of not good quality or not useful. A good investment upfront will save money over time. The examples of cutting boards. Please note that use different cutting boards for raw materials and ready-to-eat foods to avoid cross-contamination. A different color cutting board may help you distinguish between the two. Reusable storage bags. Instead of buying the plastic bags, buy bags that you can reuse over and over that will give you more use over the long run. Measuring cups and spoons, always a good idea to have on hand. A food chopper processor may cost you more upfront. It may be a little costly, but it will save you time because it takes away the time you have to manually chop. A food processor is something that can be done instantly. These are just a few suggestions that I personally use that helps me with my meal preparations. Improper food storage is a major cause of food spoilage. It is important to know how to properly store food to maintain its quality and extend its shelf life. This includes making sure to use the proper type of storage based on how you're storing the food or where you're storing your food. As an example, when storing food in a freezer, making sure the product lists this is a freezer safe container or a freezer bag. Making sure whatever containers you're utilizing are sealed, securely sealed, that there are no air bubbles, that air cannot seep into the containers, so they should be airtight containers. Making sure you leave enough room to allow for expansion when you're using liquids that you're freezing. Making sure not to stack your containers until after the food is frozen. This allows for a quicker and an even freeze of your food. Very important to make sure your freezer and your refrigerators are set to the proper storage. Ideally, for the freezer, it should be 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and for your refrigerator, the ideal temperature setting is 35 to 45 degrees. This helps to limit the growth of bacteria when you have your food at the correct temperatures. Once again, making sure that your lids are airtight and they're size appropriate. Making sure you know the humidity controls within your refrigerator. You may have storage bins, and they will most often give you the labels of what you should store in which bins based on the humidity controls. Biggest suggestion, do your research. Look out there. When you're not sure of how things should be stored, research it. Say what is the best way to store green vegetables versus acidic vegetables. Wealth of information out there that can help you to preserve your food, to extend its shelf life when properly stored. A key to healthy eating on a budget is to extend the shelf life of our food by keeping the product in its original quality until ready for use. Air and moisture can sometimes cause items to lose its freshness and quality quicker. It's important to know the proper way to store our fruits and vegetables in the refrigerator versus on a countertop that requires room temperature versus the coolness of a refrigerator. Plastic versus paper bags. Making sure that we are not washing certain products such as fruit before use. Sometimes the extra moisture may increase spoilage quicker. Things that should be in airtight containers, because the air that get into the products may cause the product to lose its quality quicker, make it get stale quicker. For instance, cereal should be in an airtight container. Condiments, they last longer when stored in a refrigerator. Herbs, they last longer when properly stored with moisture in with water in a glass on a countertop, or you can use a wet paper towel, wrap around your herbs, store them in an airtight bag, and keep them in the refrigerator because they still maintain that moisture. Do your research, wealth of information out there. Best thing is, in doubt, when you don't know, when you're unsure, is to research the best way to store your produce to keep them to last as long as possible. Sometimes situations happen in our lives that causes our money to shift priorities. That may require us to make tough decisions that will impact our financial and healthy eating choices. Healthy eating on a budget is making choices without deprivation. It should be seen as a lifestyle of change, not a chore. Here are a summary of some smart choices. Cooking at home more so than eating out. Doing a food journal. Making our grocery list and really sticking to it. Taking the time to do food comparison. Weigh the pros and cons between dry versus canned. Not eating out of boredom. Looking into generic brands. Signing up for the different grocery store saving cards. Once again, organizing our refrigerators and our cabinets and freezers to help us avoid wasting food. Eating more fulfilling foods, more vegetables and beans and grains. Buying food when they're in season and then freezing them for later use. Buying bulk when possible. Do you have a friend maybe? You go to the to like BJ's and Costco's and buy in bulk. Share the expense and share the products. Freezing leftovers. Stretching our foods by repurposing meals, creating stews and casseroles. Portion size eating. Also, smart choices is rewarding ourselves when we've done well and when we've really stuck to it, setting aside a time every now and again to do a little splurging and to reward ourselves. Healthy eating on a budget is a personal decision. It is about making smart choices and lifestyle changes. It is a commitment and it requires dedication. As mentioned, sometimes our money causes us, or situations causes our money to shift, and we have to reprioritize, and that's okay because it is life. But when we get ourselves back on track, there's still things that we can do in the meantime to help us through those financial crunch times and keep with healthy eating while maintaining our financial household expenses and requirements. Here are some resources that provide a wealth of information on healthy eating and budgeting. There are tools and there are resources on the web. There are a lot of information, a lot of good information. A lot of this information from this presentation is from the USDA, from Dave Ramsey. Every dollar, he has an app. There's a website with a wealth of information. MyPlate.gov, which is created by USDA, also provides a lot of information about portion sizes, food safety, budgeting. Is a lot of information. Healthy eating on a budget is not always easy. There are myths, like we talked about, that are out there that can be discouraging. It's a commitment, but it can be done. Hope this presentation has given you at least one tip that you can walk away with to help you on your journey to healthy eating on a budget.